something special would happen today.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt last
So we're
night.
starting live. Hello,
Okay, so we're
everyone, and
starting live.
welcome with Anna,
Hi.
Lee, and Sienna, and we're going to talk about the divine feminine today. So, who's going to start this?
I think Sienna should go first.
You think I should go first? Okay. Well, I kind of lead my life as a divine feminine because I am a mom to three teenagers who live under my roof, and as well as I'm a caregiver for my mom, who was a lovely person, but not the best mother figure because she was a very, very broken, and she's still very broken. But my my entire outlook on humanity right now is how we can take the divine feminine, kind of the mother spirit. I mean, truly mother spirit, because that's where we all come from. And if we ignore or exclude that very primordial instinct out of the top equation, then there will always be a sense of imbalance. So, how do we, as a collective of kind of polymath, empathetic, spiritual beings, have the conversation at a level that is above the noise and static that kind of keeps us in a state of division or competition, and more in a state of mother spirit, divine spirit, where we are trying to find where we come together in the middle, and then we can branch out. But it just leads to a higher state of compassion and understanding and empathy within a group structure, community, is what we need to get back to. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling through that,
Mm.
but I think COVID kind of divided us. We all needed that time for inner reflection and stillness and quiet, but now we are coming out of that. Instead of staying divided, we can use this as an opportunity to truly come together because platforms like this exist. We can connect with people from all around the world. For the first time in history, we are able to connect with other like-minded beings. And because of that, the message that we have to share is going to be amplified very quickly. And if we amplify that on a global scale, from a sense of kind of the greatest level of integrity and love for humanity, then all we can do is succeed. That's all we can do. So I'm about simplifying the message, taking out any complications along the way, and the complications are just typically from human emotions. But if we can speak in logical terms and, truly just what's possible when we come together, then, it becomes an easy process. It becomes an easy path forward. So
Yeah, I
over
agree.
to you, Anna.
Yeah, thanks. And this is where I feel the Vesta part of it is like that's what I'm sort of invoking this ancient history back into, bringing it back into the light, reigniting the flame, actually, that was extinguished back in, I can't remember now, 1838, 31, like way back at the fall of Rome when this flame was extinguished. And the flame of Vesta is the flame of the home, the flame of the hearth, the fire in the home that heats you and nourishes you in all these different ways. And that's where this coming together for me, it parallels so much of what you were saying, Sienna. This creating a safe space around the fire in the home and coming to the kitchen table together, and sort of like the same rules of etiquette that we in some way, or that some of us grew up with, like that we don't talk about certain things
Mm-hmm.
at the dinner table, and it's like a time for a different kind of work. And in that same sense, that's what I want to bring into this, like that this is a safe space to share and get results, like share the recipes, share the things that made an impact, that the tools that we each have, and like exchange and that collaboration and that mutual benefit. When women would traditionally come together, they weren't worried about winning or losing or any of this competitive part. It was like not there at all. It's like, how can you help lift each other up? Because when you do that, everybody benefits around you, not just your own home.
So, do you want to share the live on your Twitter or something?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can.
I made it. Well, it's a tweet in my timeline. Oh, that's funny. No, she went sideways because she picked up her phone.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Let me.
It's
Hopefully
okay.
nothing crashes.
No, she's still there.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah,
lost the
I can.
camera.
I think. Oh no, I'm moving it back this way. You know what? Let me do. Hold on. I'm just going to go back
That's
to this
fine, that's
space
fine.
on here, and I keep forgetting I have my iPad in front of me. So
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
yeah, I'll work.
Do that.
I'll
Oh,
do. Yeah. It's funny. My son usually takes my iPad, so I'm just not used to using it. I've been kind of phone dependent for like a year now. It's crazy. So anyway, yeah. I was taking notes as you said that, Anna, and I'll share this in a moment. And what you mentioned, it automatically brought up a memory. So my grandmother and it was something she had inherited, I think, all the way from her grandmother, was a buttermilk pancake starter mix. And, it'll tie into what you were saying in a second, but it's the idea that we're passing, this basic knowledge that then you can create your own, you can add whatever you want to that base, but there's a better name for it than starter, but you know what I'm talking about. It's essentially,
I totally know it.
it's this kind of
the starter
fermented
culture.
Yeah, the starter culture
And
is this,
cults and cultures, like, they all have these bad names, but I say to people when I was doing my fermentation workshops, I'm like, culture isn't the clothes you wear. Culture is growing. Culture is growing in your garden. That's where it's growing in the jar of your ferment on your kitchen counter, like right now. That's culture. And we as human beings are also a part of that culture. And when we all hang up the costumes, and show each other in our bare authenticity, this is where the oneness comes in, and the mother spirit that binds us all together. We are all born from woman, all of us. So we all have this mother spirit in us, and that's part of the ambition of this Mother Spirit project, is to reignite that, or have enough women reignite that they then draw in. And we were talking about this before the call together, that it's like the light and the moth, and drawing in the others, except for like they're not going to get burnt by anything when they come to this space. It's like a safe space, like a nest for us to share and really come together and make these strong connections with each other to then spread out. It just automatically will grow, just like the culture does in your jar, and sharing it just the way that they used to. They would share that culture, and it would spread naturally. And then if you lost your culture, if something happened to your jar and you lost your culture, there's other women around you that where are using a similar branch of that. You could go and retrieve that and bring it back into your own creation again. So I just love that whole idea, and the Vesta, and bringing the spirit of this ancient wisdom back to where it came from, back to the source, starting there.
I love that vision. And I should have written it down. This is why I take little notes, because I had such
we're recording this right now, and the app makes
people
a
can
transcript.
You
Yeah.
can actually join, and
Oh, we could try
Okay.
to do that.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, there
that's
were
why I
several
was saying
people who asked
if we,
me to send this to them. So let me get this sent.
yeah, because then
Um,
maybe they'll want to join. I put a link in the comment to say join the call here.
okay.
So it's basically gonna be my last tweet.
Yeah, you could just
Yeah, I'm
repost.
It's
I'm
called
super
Divine
curious
Feminine,
to.
and
I
that's
know,
Sienna and
right? Experiment
Yeah, this is the kind of
underway.
thing that I've wanted to have happen, but it's just like it makes my head hurt when I think
Yeah,
about
me
how to
too.
make it happen. Like, oh, that's a lot of complication that I just don't have the bandwidth for right now.
Yeah, I
Um,
hear you.
says we have 2 listeners on YouTube.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I'll just kind of continue sort of speaking. I know you're making notes, Sienna, but don't worry about it too much because on Riverside, when we when this gets edited, there's also a transcript thing there. You get a transcript of the whole call. So
okay.
there's sort of, and you can also use the AI to edit that and
That's actually the main
summarize
way
it.
to edit and make shorts is you choose the text that you want, and it'll just cut it and put the subtitles
Yeah, there's a lot
automatically.
of flexibility there, and we're going to gain a lot of benefit because this whole movement that we're starting here and creating this Mother Spirit movement, it's going to be created through the collective, through the conversations that we have with other men and women, through our own open collaboration that we're doing. Like right now, this conversation is part of the journey and an important part for ourselves as our little team grows here.
I'm
Yeah,
about to invite
so
a lot of people.
cool.
Yeah,
A
we
lot
we
of
don't
people.
have an appointment, so we can keep
Okay.
this baby rolling for MV, right? The host on Twitter, MV.
MV.
Yeah, she's so like she runs endurance races like 16-hour spaces. She'll like start in the
Oh,
evening and then go to bed like somewhere in the early afternoon the next day.
I used to do that, honestly. I did that a long time ago. I would just sometimes just go to sleep while I was hosting the space. And the
Yeah,
beautiful
I
thing is
bet.
I would wake up and there would still be sometimes 20 people on the space and they were just existing in the held energy. It's kind of it's
Yeah, hey, it's so cool. It's so
yeah.
cool. That was one of the other cool things that Lee wanted to do. The when we get the Mother Spirit platform, up and running, is a 24-hour mantra, 24/7 mantra space where
Mhm.
it's actually people in there doing their mantras, and so you can engage. You go in, you are listening live, and have it set up so that there's like always a person, all the way around the planet. There's always a
Yes.
person doing the mantra. So this like kind of running mantra, which would be so wild to do.
Yeah, I love that concept because there's a space that I co-hosted. I think I was maybe now I can't remember who it was with, but a couple of weeks ago, and I think you were both on, but you got off because it went super late. But it was essentially how do we keep this constant energy going?
Yeah, I
Because
remember that space.
once we get into the conversation, we bring it to a certain level of energy, and everybody's so excited. But it's how do you kind of keep that energy flowing throughout the duality? The once you get into responsibilities and get it kind of go back to the 3D nature of life. How do you still retain that energy? But I think if we
Yeah.
agree as a collective to hold that space for each other, and you have these spaces that go 24/7, that is essentially a container.
Mm.
And if we consider kind of like the fermentation, the culture that we were talking about earlier,
The
um,
vessel.
yeah, the vessel. This is if you're creating this divine, this mother spirit vessel.
Mm.
We are the culture within that vessel, and we are
Yes.
continually adding to that culture. And this ties
Sienna,
back to
do you want
Shivambu
to?
too.
Yeah, totally. Can you move your camera a little bit so that you're more centered in the?
Sure.
You're a bit out
I
of
was
frame.
the light. Yeah, the light is it's just so
You just have
bright
to
in
turn
this.
your phone a bit.
Because of
Yeah.
the split screen. There you
Okay.
go. You're better
Yeah.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me. Okay. Yeah, I was
Oh, now
trying
you're
to.
still out. Oh, there.
There,
Yeah,
There.
there we
yeah.
go.
Better
Okay.
light.
Great.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot actually. Like, yeah, you're the body is the temple. You are the container. You know, this is the container, and then the Shivambu. It really is kind of a big part of all of that. And that's one
So,
of the things that Vesta is holding is actually a bull in her hand and a staff in the other hand, and it's like the holy waters.
She was basically one of the most important powers for Romans because they believed, and it actually happened to they ended up being right in the end. They thought that. Sorry, you can't see me because the way the mic is picking things up. Yeah, if you cover your mic, it'll be better. So in 384 AD, there was. It should count anyway. Sorry, I want things to work better than they are. Hello. So in 384 AD, there was a phoenix, one of those cataclysms. And in 390 or 391, a few years later, they kept, there was an overthrow, and this guy came into power, and they kept trying to basically destroy this type of approach to spirituality, right? They called it paganism. And then when they destroyed the virgins of Vesta were supposed to guard the flame. There was this brazier burning in Rome, and it was believed that if it was ever to go out, that Rome would be destroyed. And that's actually what happened. Is Rome ended up being destroyed. Basically, that was a big dark age for Rome after that. So it's basically that idea of carrying the flame. And that's why its glyph is the container that had the brazier and the flame in it, because she carries the flame, basically. So it really resonated with Anna, that idea, because I guess she likes that idea. But it's a good idea. And she has it on her ascendant, astrologically.
oh, so Lee, as a divine feminine, how would you foresee that we kind of get the balance back in a state of harmony for everyone?
Yeah, well, it's by just doing it on the individual level. Like, it's always the same. The worry for the collective is basically there's a healthy part to it, but like everything else, it's been bloated into something that goes way beyond what it was supposed to do, which is we have empathy naturally. So we understand that if others sort of bring their spirituality up, then it lifts us up too. But at the same time, if things happen this way and we're sort of a big part of the yoga, the work, is to recognize the adversary as not an intrinsic evil, right? So the situation that we find ourselves in, as long as we think of it as something we have to destroy outside of ourselves, right? We have to bring harmony to the collective. That will prevent harmony for this individual to develop to a certain extent, right? It becomes its own obstacle. So everything is, I call it the dragon. It takes us on a ride, and we find out later why this was a spiritual achievement. It's only that on the moment we thought, oh my God, we need to wake up the collective. But that was just a way to trick us into doing all these things for ourselves, which ended up being reflected in the world. So it's like I was talking, I don't know if you saw my interview with Joel.
I watched several chunks of it, but then I jumped into this space.
Yeah, so we were talking about that, the screaming fest that happens with Gaza, and he said, yeah, there is no Gaza. It's just that we by giving our awareness to something, it becomes real. So it's basically, at the beginning, it was all staged. And then people started giving it their attention, which created the actual event. So it's by making people, but it's taking us on a ride, basically, to show us, to forge souls. The scriptures say they're sifting for gold, the gods are sifting for gold, or they're trying to, create the arihant and the sidhus and all of that, the people who have gone through the hardship, and then because of that, that's how good is forged, is by sending it through the fires of evil. So the harmony, this harmony is the harmony. It's finding for itself. So we just have to, it's like I go in the sea and I let it all go, and then the actions come. We don't become inert when we let go. So basically we just give it up. We give up the worry about the collective, and then we just talk to people. Like you, now we're talking, me and you, and we're just we're moving our assemblage points, as the Toltecs said. We're creating these different states of awareness, and then we're bringing people in with us. And we're doing magic, basically. That's why I call it golden magic. We're just creating ripples in other people to see the underneath everything, the joy, beneath living, beneath perceiving, being able to, even in a dungeon, to attain blissful states of awareness. So we just give them, I was telling Anna, I didn't really appreciate some of the things that were taught to me. I had like a second mother. My dad sort of remarried, quote unquote, and she was so tidy, and it drove me nuts. But then afterwards, now I'm so tidy, because I realized afterwards, like, oh my God, there's so many benefits to living in a clean space. So I started practicing it because I had a memory to rely upon in terms of, I won't come back again. In terms of having that experience, just to know that it's possible to live this way. So we're just showing people that it's possible to not have all of this worry about Gaza. And that, in fact, doing so will help them better, because then tomorrow when I have energy, I can see whether or not I should go there. Maybe for me that path is I need to go there. Maybe for somebody else it's going nearby and helping the people come out. Maybe it's just helping people around them who actually do something for them. Whatever it is, they'll be able to see it then, because they have energy, because they're not spun up on this, like, oh my God, I need to do more. I need to fund Washington so they can send Hamas guns and all of this madness, which just creates even more spinning. So the Mother Spirit is just a space to create calm and to show people, look, you can live this way, and we're not here to debate that we're doing more for the good of humanity. We're just trying to take care of ourselves first, and the people directly around us, to see if we can make a difference right now, right here, and not think about Gaza over there, which we don't live there. We can't. It's called like psychological suffering. It's creating a condition that you're not in to worry about something you can't do anything about. So we're just offering an alternative. I call it golden magic.
I like all of that. And what Anna and I were talking about yesterday is how do we enact the greatest change just through the conversation that we're having. And that is not focusing on anything negative, because there's always going to be, the negatives are infinite, if you allow them to be infinite, or they could be negligible if that is the energy that you put into it. So how do we plant the seeds within our our Mother Spirit, divine feminine vessel, and create the culture that then is kind of ripple effects is kind kind of a cheesy way to put it, but I mean, that is what is created, is kind of this rolling energetic field of what we are creating together. Just in I mean, there could be three of us who create an entire etheric energy that can be felt on a
Yeah,
global
it's
scale.
happening now.
Yes, it is,
As
and I
we
can tell
speak.
with the DMs that I'm getting, it's crazy. Actually, I just got another DM about
Did you
divine.
retweet?
I posted it, yes, and
Oh,
then
okay.
yeah, immediately after I was getting messages about divine, the need for divine masculine, divine feminine energies too. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you talk about these seeds, and that just brought something as feeling up in me. I really feel we are seeds. Each one of us is a seed, and some of us are just like more dormant than others. But these two women in somewhere in the east here, they had these like 4,000, 2,000, I can't remember, but these like really old date palm seeds that had been in the seed bank for at minimum 2,000 years. I can't remember if it was 2 or 4. And they were like, can we take them and can we try to germinate them? And the people running the seed bank thing were like, yeah, okay, go ahead. And didn't they sprout, you know? Like, so no matter how calcified or old or programmed people are, like there's still this luminosity in each one of us. And it's really to ignite that fire inside you that wants to grow itself. And that's why my whole MO turned into living as art. And my art isn't, a painting hanging on the wall or a beautiful soundtrack. I'm really not, I'm not I don't have great penmanship. But the art for me is how you live your life, like right down to your trash can, just make all of it beautiful. And the more you lean into that, the more connection you have with the mother, and the less you need to worry about all of these other things that are going on, because if you're not participating in them, then they don't exist, literally. Like, and you start with just like one person doing that, and it has, like, as you were saying, Sienna, these things have ripple effects to them. And when we go down to the trash can and put our things in the right slots, if there's something on the ground there, pick it up and put it where it belongs. I loved walking with my grandma to the grocery store. She always had a bag with her, and she was like picking up stuff on the way there. Like just wherever she passed by. If there was trash on the ground, she just naturally picked it up. And that's the kind of energy that we want to like re-invoke in humanity. It's not so much, it's just having that's how the draw will happen. It's like just totally different. This isn't a marketing campaign. It's like a safe place to come, like putting that beacon out there, saying, that's why I love the Vesta glyph, the little flame, the special flame that you display to say this is safe harbor, like
I would
the
love the
lighthouse.
idea. No, Lola, sorry, someone just arrived at my house. No, Lola, it's okay. Sorry. I just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, the
No,
beacons of
that's okay.
safety, though, and what you were trying to create together, which I think is beautiful. Kind of creating a place where people can come to kind of step into the highest conceptualization of what they want to create themselves. And then we are essentially all, anyone who steps into this vessel, whether in physical or just a mental capacity, is essentially they're adding to this culture, and and that culture in and of itself, it brings about the wisdom of all the kind of generations that came before, and with each one of us. I mean, I'm very, very kind of hyper focused on the genetic code that exists within me, because primarily my grandfathers, but on my maternal and paternal side, my grandfathers, had very specific purposes in their lives. I mean, very specific. Like it's when somebody wakes up every morning and thinks, what am I going to do towards, fill in the blank, whatever their specific skill set brings them to this mission, their calling. And sorry, I'm getting all kinds of like unbelievable messages right now. I think
the word that comes up for me when you say that is, no, I've lost it.
Yeah, I usually just keep
the culture.
I just write little words. Yes.
Yeah, the culture part of it, and we each have our own like culture, and then when we mix them together, like there's ones that are naturally compatible, that'll naturally be drawn to each other, and then they'll create something magical from that. And that's really what it's about. It's not about like, oh, I have all of the answers. No, I don't. I don't have answers, but I do have my experiences, my own personal experiences, and that's where this whole knowledge comes from, is us sharing our different experiences. Now is the time to share your grandma's secret cookie recipe. Like, no more secrets. And Shivambu is another thing that was sort of labeled as, in the text, they say, don't tell anyone. Yeah, and some people really take that to heart, but that's really what's held us back, is that we haven't been sharing. And everybody's like hoarding the recipes because they don't want someone to outdo them. Like, they're going to take their grandma's cookie recipe and make millions of dollars with it. Like, we always tie it to a fiat monetary thing, but the spiritual side of this and the harmony that creates within community far outweighs the whatever monetary aspect you could ever pin to these things. And in the end, what is wrong with that? Like, if you can make a good cookie, do it.
I love the idea of, if we're talking about like my grandmother had a better name for it, but it's essentially a starter batch. I mean, if we are creating a vessel with the culture kind of that we all bring together, we're all bringing our own individual cultures and adding them to this great pot of wisdom. Right. And then when new people, new ideas, new concepts come, new cultures are added to this mix. I'd like to kind of try to identify a way, because this is going to be such a safe space, where maybe people could take surveys about what their particular,
I get where you're going with this,
their greatest passion, and then we can start kind of connecting people with, like, you're talking about cookies, but it's like, I'm not really a cookie person, but I really love buttermilk pancakes. So it's like, what you meet in this center culture, and it's like, okay, well, this other person, oh my gosh, this other person really likes cookies, so let's see what we can create together. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's the possibilities are infinite. And once people understand across the board that there is a place that they can come where they're inspired, they're essentially called to step into the highest version of self, versus anything that leads to competition or any kind of division. Because that's. It's
I really see it like a recipe book in a way, like where you have, at the beginning, there's like, okay, these are the tools that you're going to need to be able to pull this off. And like, here's some ingredients that are common that you're going to have access to. And like what you were saying with like, okay, well, I have the cookie recipe, but I really actually like buttermilk pancakes, and like, oh, she likes buttermilk pancakes, but she doesn't like cookies. Like the swapping part of it, and like, oh, here's the recipe for that, and here's the recipe for that, and oh, do you need whatever ingredient, by the way? Like if you don't have this, oh, I have that. And these, all of these things are like tools that we have in our toolbox. And so when part of what I want to build for the Mother Spirit is this foundation, the cookbook. We're basically creating the cookbook here. So the rules of conduct and this kind of thing. I have there's already beautiful people that have done great work in this arena. So that's part of the coming into this space. The first bit of knowledge that we all share and agree upon is this code of conduct. Yeah, I think that's sort of the beginning, so that we have the communication conduct really is a great skill set anyway to hone when you're speaking to other people or in public spaces and whatnot. So yeah, that's
Well,
sort of foundational for me.
the beautiful thing is we are creating, without even, requiring a system to do it, we are creating kind of the base platform right now that leads to kind of exacting discernment, because once you set a specific tone, then people coming in will try to match that tone. And
Right.
if we set a tone of one that is such a safe place, such a holding space, of a safe space of creativity,
Yeah.
and love, then
Yeah, that's why I really like the Mother Spirit, like name, and the not the logo, but
Oh,
the
look at
Vesta, the
my cup.
Vesta energy.
free spirit. I just
That
got it because it's the
Vesta,
biggest mug I have.
that Vesta
Guess what I have in
energy.
my cup.
Oh,
I'll
Cheers.
have a drink.
oh, cheers! I have mushroom. I have mushroom coffee. I don't drink coffee, but this is mushroom coffee with some agave. I think a little touch of agave
Voila.
and some collagen.
I finished it. It's all in
Yum.
me now.
Okay.
And every time I feel so much like
It's
a wave
a-
of power that comes.
It is. I will agree to that. I haven't quite gotten to the point where I can chug it like that, but you can feel it for extended periods of time. It's almost like a soul cleanse throughout the
Yeah.
chakra system.
Yeah, when I
That's-
started, I
Totally.
was so excited, and what's the word? It gave me a lot of ambition, and I just went head first, fasting, and like looping a lot. And I swear it was like I wasn't literally shaking, but it felt like my body was shaking. And I was so fired up. I was like going down the street telling people, you know what, diseases don't exist. And I thought I was nuts because the energy I was giving off was so supercharged that, they all
Yeah.
went away.
Did you read the article that I sent you last night?
I did read that this
yeah.
morning. I didn't pass it to Lee yet or even say anything about it because
I know that's a pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
lots of stories out there.
Yeah,
really
that one
similar to that.
really, yeah, that one was pretty amazing to me. I mean, him talking about being in a bathtub full of, because I think he was going on a trip and he just, kind of anything he had, he just poured in the bathtub. He's like, I'm just gonna go for it.
Plasma
And
bath.
he had,
yeah.
he had this unbelievable awakening while he was in the bathtub. He's just,
Yeah. I had
like-
my own experience with that. I did a plasma bath in Laos, and I didn't know I was just expecting it to be like, normal soak in the water. And yeah, I had a whole rebirth experience and a huge breakthrough moment, and tears and just a huge healing experience from
Incredible.
it myself. That's one of my favorite things to do, actually, the plasma bath. I haven't been able to do that on this sort of scale I was doing when I was living in Laos at the farm, but
sure.
yeah, it's a magical experience.
You could even use your trash can if you don't have a bathtub. I saw that the other day.
That's actually what my bathtub was.
Oh,
in
okay.
Lao at the farm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I got the extra large one, and I could fit inside it and sit cross-legged, and I had
Very
a few
nice.
different styles. Yeah, but they were all out.
Okay.
I didn't have an actual indoor bathtub, so yeah, it was
Yeah.
happening outside in the garden actually,
Nice.
which
have a
I
really-
turned into loving. I love the whole idea of the outdoor
Planting
bathing.
seeds. Yeah, you're planting seeds while you're doing it. My voice is leaving.
Yeah, so that's actually another aspect to the Mother Spirit. This is starting online, but we actually want to have physical centers around the earth. As many people that want to participate in this, and at any ranging scale, like doesn't matter if you have a physical space or if you just want to do online or like whatever. But we do want to have a physical identity as well for myself and Lee, our physical project that we start too. So we have a lot of plans already waiting for that.
Yeah, I could talk for a really long time about this subject, actually. It's been basically my what I'm here for is to give that protector and architect aspect.
Continue.
So
I'd
I've
love
worked
to
out
hear
a
more.
lot of kinks. Like I've thought about a lot of different aspects, and the trust aspect is basically the root of it. So yeah, there's a part that I call the Golden Phoenix, which is the council that I want to find. Basically, like Sienna is totally like a super good candidate. But yeah, this basically, it's like a bootstrap process. It's difficult to explain exactly how it's going to happen, but finding the right people to create a council with a certain kind of voting system that doesn't have to be one for one, but something that's maybe weighed, depending, like some people have more weight than other. I don't know exactly. And they basically oversee the large scale part of budgeting, basically, and policy decision, because we want, it's going to be more organically driven. So you allocate a budget basically to a concept with some people in charge of like sub budgeting and so on. So we don't want like the Hitler style where like one man had to make every decision and then it jammed everything. But at the same time, we want a really strong council that can never be corrupted, or it can accomplish its mission in its lifetime. And then of course every movement is always going to be corrupted, because that's what this world does. It like takes something, and then after it's played out its part, it takes the word and then becomes something else. So it took Christianity and it became something else, and it
Becomes subjective versus objective.
somebody's going to reuse that word and put a spin on it, basically, when the people who started this are gone. There's so many examples of this. Like sometimes people will find an idea by a very little known author, and they'll just claim it as their own and write another book,
Yeah.
because nobody is going to find the book. So that's basically what we're talking about. So in the living part, like it's going to be good. It's going to be as good as the people who make it up. So this is why basically the crux is this decentralized voting system, where basically there's so many little layers to this, because there's the whole financial side. Which banks do we trust to hold the money and stuff, which again is determined maybe by the council, in a sense where they determine another council made up of untrusting and not untrusting, but people who check each other's opinion. They don't work together, like a panel of people who study banks, each on their own time, and their vote determines which banks are more trustworthy. So if like a bank starts losing trustworthiness, then automatically the fund gets rewired into other banks. So we don't lose like with a bank run. We don't lose because somebody has access to all of the bank accounts of the company. and decides to, make a run for it, or because somebody has control over the budget and wants to like have a bad idea, so it can't just pass. There's no single man power.
And this may sound like unreachable, but a lot of the legwork has already been done in a lot of ways for this. There's already been communities starting up that have trialed this kind of the language that Lee's using. They've trialed a lot of these things, and so a lot of our research is not just in holistic health and stuff like that. It's really community building and co-living situations and community management and these kinds of things is really where we spend a lot of time reading, and then using the modern technology like blockchain technology and having your books like visible so that people can see where their donated funds are actually going to, like specifically, and these kinds of things. They're actually already in play with varying degrees of success, and the more that we have interacted with all these different communities, we've really from traveling so much around the world, we've really gained a lot of perspective of things that have worked for communities, things that haven't worked for communities. And so, yeah, we're really kind of tying that all together now.
This is the bootstrap stage where basically there's no, it's the beginning, so it hasn't literally happened yet. But we have to base our, why isn't it switching? I'm sorry.
I'd like to, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, speak.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of see your vision of, if you had a community, just talk about the community if you had all the resources, just everything aligned perfectly. The first community that you would build, the first homestead, whatever name you'd prefer to call it. What would that look like? You'd be doing retreats. You would be having, specific kind of like groupings of people who are interested in, chocolate chip cookies or, buttermilk waffles,
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Totally.
What does that look like?
Basically, it's where we live right now. So for me, it's already happening. But we're just expanding our space to accommodate more people, and that basically becomes a property of the movement. So we become employees to the movement, basically. And then I have a genius for knowing what to do. So, retreats, like somebody wants to cure cancer, come over, we're going to do it. Whatever it is, like the spirit brings to us that they need.
So it can be a lot of different things. Like, I know you're saying like, okay, now everything is ideal and you have all the funds, go for it. But our minds always go back to like, okay, how do we start now, today, right in your own space? But yeah, just sort of a co-living, co-working, collaborative space, also inclusive of that. And because when people come to this space to heal, I want them to feel that there's actually a community there. It's not just people fulfilling tasks that are getting paid to do them. It's actually from people who are staying there who are also committed to the project. That's why Lee and I don't need to own the land. We really want, like, wherever these places, we're very nomadic right now. We don't actually have a home per se in the usual sense. So wherever we're here now in Majorca, I would love to do one of these spaces or be a part of a big project here. Just because one of the reasons is because this has a high flow of people come through, and the resources are pressured here. And so to also showcase that you can do things, you can conduct a business in a way where your impact is actually eco-positive. You're not actually drawing, that by your being there, you're producing more fertilizer and no waste. Let's kind of put it that way. Yeah, and just by how you live. And we also have a lot of experience through this. Like, Shivambu is such a small part of it. We did humanure for a year out of a crazy location like that no one would attempt otherwise. But, I wanted to make the way I lived scalable to anything. I'm like, okay, you're not in the countryside anymore. You're downtown Tokyo. The toilet doesn't flush anymore. What are you going to do? And so that's really what spurred me into doing this humanure project that I found myself undertaking. And there are solutions for all of these crazy problems that, if we're worried about them happening. But it's not about fixing a problem. It's just about using the resources that we already have to make the world a more beautiful, fertile space to be in. So this eco-positive way of conducting our lives and our businesses is a big part of it. That's a big part of what the project Physical Healing Center will be about. And so the big one that I want to create is really like I want to be able to push it as far as I can, for it to be an example of how far you go. You can go with it, and that's how I engage with my Shivambu too. That's why I'm on this. I'm not on it. It's been called to me, this breatharian journey that I'm on. I'm curious, how far can I take it? And I'm not in a rush. The end goal is not the goal even. It's just it's all about the journey and how we get there, the whole unfolding of it for it to be a beautiful thing. Yeah, so this space is going to be, the ideal space will be based on those kinds of principles.
So I was picturing, as you were going through that so eloquently, a virtual compound, a compound of consciousness, a consciousness compound, consciousness community, with virtual yurts, where you're essentially creating energetic portals
Right.
within this virtual collective consciousness compound. I don't know. I was just writing down a bunch of words. With the shared
you're
garden.
actually close to what we're.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what's happening now. We're in our virtual space.
Yeah.
So we have a shared garden. We have the shared vessel. We're each creating our culture, our individual cultures within our own individual yurts, or maybe our own individual tents, and then we're meeting. The people who like cookies are meeting in one yurt. The people who like buttermilk waffles,
Exactly.
are meeting in these larger yurts, and then we're meeting maybe once a week or something in a shared garden, a shared community space. But yeah, I mean, it's the beauty is we can do all this virtually. We can do all this just with even intention. It doesn't even need to be, once the conversation is started, then that is what we're creating. This shared experience of stepping into higher understanding because we are doing it together. It's beautiful. I actually need to hit the bathroom, if that's okay. So I'm going to disappear just for 30 seconds because the bathroom's right on the other side. But I am listening, so keep talking and I'll be right back. Maybe I'll pee into this cup.
Do it.
You're still recording, whatever you say, so you can.
Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic and you guys talk for a bit.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Sienna. It's super great to have this big share. And really, this is how the whole thing is going to be birthed anyway. Through the collective, these kinds of conversations will shape the direction of the whole movement. And it's interesting when we're talking about these cultures and the jars and the fermentation process and this process of creativity and creation and rebirth. And it's really the analogy of fermentation I love so much, because you take something that is maybe not even edible, like orange peels, and you ferment them for a certain period of time, and suddenly they're not only edible, but they're actually bringing probiotics to you, and they're like nurturing you and soothing to you. Whereas in the beginning it was like irritating. You can't rub orange peel on your skin, like, you know, you couldn't handle it. So there's this thing that's like hard to touch at the beginning, and then soft and nourishing in the end of the process. And it's like a purification process, and that's really what our bodies need the support to go through right now, is this space where we can be purified, and our bodies are these vessels of purification. The body really knows how to purify itself given the right conditions. And so it's really about creating the conditions for the purification to naturally happen. And when we do that in ourselves, it happens in the environment around us. And I really learned this so intimately through bokashi composting, where you're just like taking this like detritus and you're turning it into this fertile soil. And then the humanure really took that to a whole new level, where you're taking this like really healing the relationship with ourselves, with our own bodies. And we revere the manure of other creatures, but not ourselves. And the humanure process really helped me so much with healing all of that conditioning that's been displayed to us through media, of this view that we have of the human body to be this like chiseled marble figure, and bringing that beauty of that aspect of the chiseled marble and the craftsmanship of the amazing ability of us to even create something so magnificent, and realizing that we are that in organic form. And we can do a purification process that connects us back to the mother. Yeah, that's really what the space is kind of like about, and what Vesta is all about, the hearth, the heart of the home, and this the fire, what better purifier than a fire, and ferments. They want to be warm, they want to be nearby the fire. So there's all these beautiful aspects, and this feeling and this reverence for life that really we want to reignite in people.
Have either of you seen the documentary called Fantastic Fungi? It talks about the mycelium
Yes.
network. You've seen that?
Yeah, I have. I've had contact with Paul Stamens. So he
Good,
was
good.
a presenter at Hollyhock, and so I had
Oh, that's
a lot of
phenomenal. He's amazing. Yeah.
contact with some of these people that would go to and from that space, and yeah.
Yeah, I tried to contact the guys at Johns Hopkins, Roland Griffins and Matthew Johnson. They were a little bit snarky, and I mean, this is years ago. This is literally in 2020. I tried to reach out to them. Essentially, I don't know if you're familiar with the program that they're running, but it's essentially microdosing psilocybin under controlled study within the Johns Hopkins University medical system, and it's in Baltimore. It's very close to me, so I was reaching out to them, essentially saying, the experiences that your, kind of test subjects are having, they would be changed in an instant, and they'd be changed permanently from just one experience with this. I consider it kind of the connection with all things. I mean, mycelium network is the decomposer of all life, and the mycelium network expands all the way around the world. So as we are ingesting mushrooms, whether the psychedelic nature or just the coffee that I'm drinking right now, it connects us with all that is in such a natural, or such a almost like a cosmic scale, just like the Shivambu, I think has the same effect. It is connecting us with the ultimate sources of information.
Yes.
And so I think I would love to have people who understand that connection and start inviting them on these spaces if you're open to it.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
yeah, because I think I mean, there's so much disclosure happening right now. I mean, things that, were considered woo-woo even 3 months ago are
Yeah.
now being more widely accepted. So I just think it behooves us, to kind of
Yeah.
start bringing people together,
Yes.
who do understand, kind of the magical nature of what we're creating. But then, I always talk about, trying to amplify it, just trying to simplify, condense, and amplify,
I think
just
in the
over and over and over.
process of purification in each of us, and as we grow and our luminosity grows, then that light, like you're saying, like polishing, uh, as that light gets out there, then, people will come.
People will come. Build it and they
Right.
will come.
Yeah.
Is that
So
so
it's not, that's really what yeah, yeah.
I want to read you some of the messages that I've been getting since we've been on this space.
Just going to reach for
And
my drink here.
it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that there's a lot happening today. Maybe this is not the right thread that I'm thinking of, but I'm gonna keep adding these threads. I think it was this one. Dualistic energy essence of the creator, masculine, feminine, positive, and negative. All are children of God, divine we are. So that came in less than an hour ago. Do everything in dependence on me. The desire to act independently, apart from me, springs from the root of pride. Self-sufficiency is subtle, insinuating its way into your thoughts and actions without your realizing it. But apart from me, you can do nothing. That is nothing of eternal value. My deepest desire for you is that you learn to depend on me in every situation. Now, this is I guess this is a Jesus quote. Me in this training, teaching you would be simple if I negated your free will or overwhelmed you with my power. However, I love you too much to withdraw the godlike privilege I bestowed on you as my image bearer. Use your freedom wisely by relying on me constantly. Thus you enjoy my presence and my peace. So, and this is from some book dated September 6th. But it is John 15:5, Ephesians 6:10, Genesis 1:26. I do not have any specific religious background, but to me, this is, just talking about what we're talking. I mean, we are all connected at such a high level, and if we step into kind of that which the ascended masters understood, and Jesus was maybe the highest ascended master, but there were others. And if we can continually step into kind of the highest sense of truth, the highest sense of justice, without the springing of the root of pride. I mean, that's very significant to the discussions we've been having, because it's
Yeah.
what's at the root of your intention. What are you attempting to do with the power that you have? Because
Yeah.
we all have this power, but some of us are just, I think, stepping into it without any kind of nefarious, intentions behind it. And because of that, the clarity, it just kind of, it's part of the process. The more love and integrity you put into whatever it is you're working on, the clearer the message, and the path almost becomes laden with gold,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's sort of this whole conversation and these shares that we will continue to have. It's really like that's actually what's happening. Like this will be built, as I was saying, this will be built in that manner, because we are individuals. But yeah, we can't. You can't do much on your own, but collectively, a lot can happen, and it doesn't actually need to be a lot of people for that energy to build and roll out and make its ripples.
Well, if you think,
There's many pockets doing it right now as we speak, I think. And really, Mother Spirit is like another kind of, I hope it becomes a beacon, like the lighthouse, like that, for people to that this resonates with, that we can find the others. Find the others.
Find the others. There's another. It's like a 10-minute clip. I think I mentioned it to both of you before. It's called "The Gathering of the Tribe." Charles Eisenstein. He's a great polymath type thinker who understands that. Lee, you actually kind of remind me of him. He's very, very, very intense, but incredibly, I mean, just gifted and so knowledgeable. But he created a video called "The Gathering of the Tribe," and it talks about the remembrance. Those who've been kind of called to do something greater for humanity. It happened millennia ago. I mean, in a different part of the galaxy. But we chose to come here because we knew the Earth we found out that, planet Earth was in crisis mode. And so we kind of were planted here. If we're talking about the concept of planting seeds, we were planted here as seeds. We had to go through, lifetimes of suffering and kind of uncertainty and like this, kind of like pushing the boulder up the hill and continually having it roll over us. And then we just keep going back the next day for more. We just continually keep trying to repeat the process until the timing is right on a global scale to the point where there can be actual momentum. And so the starseed factor in this gathering the tribe scenario is essentially that entities, beings, souls, whatever, agreed millennia ago to come here for this moment. And now that this moment is here, the remembrances are they just keep expanding, and it's happening simultaneously to, it's going to start as a small number of people, but just as there's a small number of people kind of holding us back from our truths and from being able to step into our divine innate natures, it's a very small, faction of humanity that is trying to control the purse strings, trying to control the puppet strings. But, once we have mass momentum in the other direction, which we do right now, we have it on such a grand scale that, I think that, once the teeter-totter seesaw kind of, sways to one side, it's just forward motion from this point. So, with that, the idea that we can be cognizant of, this is what Anno and I were talking about, Leah. I think you were eating a big bowl of ice cream or something. We were having this conversation, but yeah, it's now that we are cognizant of the fact that we are creating this great kind of momentous change in the world, and that the words that and the intentions, primarily in the intentions, because I think we kind of get tripped up over words. Oops, sorry. But the fact that we are aware, hyper aware of what we're creating, because the DMs that I'm getting just like every couple of seconds now, the DMs are essentially all along the same vibe of this conversation. So we're experiencing things collectively all around the world, and it's beautiful. And we have to, I think, start coming together in a way that, if there's, say, 300 pods of people having some conversations similar to this right now, because that is what we were putting out into the ether. Imagine if we were all having this conversation together. That would just amplify it to the next level. And then you have the conversation here, and that amplifies it to the next level until we raise the frequency of the entire, species, all life kind. It's just, that's the kind of thing that I think about every day. And if you just keep simplifying the process, then that's how simple it can be. And I know that we're already doing this.
The child's mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still have he's not going to be a child for long, but a 13-year-old, I think I mentioned, who, he cuddled with me again last night. He's just in that mode where he's like a big teddy bear, because I think he He's not quite interested in girls yet, but I think he's close. But it's just like this one little window where he's still open to every possibility. He's not shut off. He's not biased. He's not tethered to, you know, circumstances.
Yeah, it's still that innocence of childhood.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
And then it disappears, but it's like it doesn't need to. We just become conditioned out of that sense that we are capable of doing anything we want, that we can create, that
Yes.
we can manifest, you know, the life that we want. We can manifest the reality that we want, and not just on our energetic scale, but, you know, on an everything scale.
Mike is here, but
Oh, good.
I like the word invoke.
I'm supposed to be able to bring people up from the chat.
Spirit.
But I'm not sure. Maybe he can ask for permission to. I've never actually done this, so I'm just maybe talking to Mike. Maybe you can ask for the mic. I don't even know how this works.
Yeah, I don't.
Otherwise, I'll send you a guest link.
Work in progress. Yeah, I don't. Let me see.
Yeah, this is a trial run, folks. If anybody's listening in live, this is a total trial run. We're literally ironing out the kinks and like doing the work live. So
yeah, like the bit that Sienna just let out, that's really good. So
we're gonna
when it's over, we cut
a
short out of this, make a TikTok short, you know, with the captions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really blows up.
Yeah, the shorts really get people drawn into. It's like a commercial, you know. It's
Yeah.
just a little hook to get people, like little
A trailer.
like confetti of stars that we spread out, and if people find that star and they're like, oh, where's the parent to this? Where's the parent to this little star? Where's her mom? Let's go find.
Lee, you're so intense.
What, me?
Yes, you're very intense. Yeah. I'm told that I'm intense, but I think you out intensify me.
It's funny because your sun is conjunct with Cassandra. Why am I never coming up with Cassandra? And Cassandra is her story was that she was given the gift of prophecy, and
she was with Apollo, right? Was Apollo her?
Yeah.
Mate?
Apollo.
Yes.
Apollo wanted to seduce her, and she refused him. And so he cursed her with the curse that her prophecies wouldn't be believed.
Yes, I resonate with that fully.
I know, it's funny, right?
So fully.
And we read the Three of Diamond, which is where your sun falls, and it was funny. Like have dependables. We'll have many people depend on them sometimes because of illness. And it's a difficult life path, but it's a very powerful card because these things they go together.
Yes.
The bigger the obstacle, the bigger the task, basically.
Yes.
So you're a strong soul with a big task.
Well, I do recall at a young age, kind of throwing myself in for the hardest task, just because I knew I would have patience that other people wouldn't have. And I still know that that's true, because I find people to be highly intolerant, and I'm probably overly tolerant until I'm just, if somebody crosses the line, then I become highly intolerant in a hurry. But I tend to tolerate, because I don't consider anything bad behavior unless it's truly intentional. Sometimes people just come in a state of being broken. And I'm highly cognizant of being broken. So it's actually easier for me to meet people in a state of brokenness and a state of kind of victory. The chest thumping stage, which most people kind of present with, is, I'm important. I'm here to do something significant. It's like, okay, well, so am I. We all are. So take a seat.
It's interesting you say that.
Take a seat.
That's really kind of like where, I don't want to call our state, the United State, broken or in a crisis, but it's kind of like, in a way, like with the collectively, it really is feeling like that. How much longer are we all going to wait before we do something? And so it's like that calling in myself, like the the mother spirit is, this movement is really coming out of a need for it myself in my own life. So
Well, I think what we're
yeah,
waiting for is us. I mean, you just alluded to the same thing, but it is, yeah, Mike just said it's us. It's us and it's now.
yeah,
And, it's whenever we start, is when all of it starts. And not to
yeah,
get too esoteric, it's already started, but we can
yeah.
be the reason
We're
that,
onboarding ourselves into
yes.
the into the movement.
Well, yeah, we're taking the 2,000 or 4,000-year-old seeds, and
Yes.
we're not
Giving
just
them some
planting it.
hydration.
Yeah, we are
A little
pouring
fertilizer.
so much fertilizer, so much of the fermented starter batch on
Yeah.
these seeds that, it is now collectively taking in the wisdom that's existed within the last 4,000 years,
Yes,
you
and this
know.
fermentation is like a real true purification process. And actually part of the healing that came out of this is what I missed before when I was talking about it. The thought that escaped me um, was like this purification process of all this healing that has to happen and all this grief when we come into the knowledge that we come into it in the process of awakening. Like, it's hardcore what you're confronted with, the all of the lies and the trauma that comes along with all of that. And so there has to be this, like, it's so necessary to have this nurturing space and the fermentation process, to use it as a mirror to heal, so that you can really feel it as a gentle unfolding instead of another thing, like another task, another thing that's going to be hard and weighing on you. No, it's not. The weight is just, like the follower at the top of your ferment jar that just keeps everything below the surface so that it doesn't get contaminated. It's not about that kind of pressure, like, is in a good way, right? In a good energy way. So I love that mirror of using these terms as part of our healing. And that's what my landlady and I in Georgetown, where I did a lot of fermented composting, we were realizing in the process that we were actually healing ourselves. And there was this huge mirror between the soil and the soul that happened to us in that backyard that was just magical. And it's like you watch the process happen in the jar, and that softening happening, and all of these nutrients coming into being that were already there. They just needed to be unlocked. So we have that all in us, that light in us that just needs to burn brighter to clean itself. We're like self-cleaning mechanisms. So beautiful.
So you always inspire me to start writing notes, Anna. And one of the things that, everything you just mentioned, um, it made me consider the idea of, we're kind of like this pot of cultures, but if we could have a motherly approach, if you consider the fact that we're doing this kind of mother spirit approach, creating a safe space, it brings to mind when I used to go to the library and get like 50 books for my kids, and each one of them liked a different book. And we would sit, and each one would, get to pick, the next book, the next book, the next book. But how about, we as these mother spirits, kind of taking in the culture, creating, kind of like childhood stories, but it's based on kind of the folklore, the fables of each of the cultures that are added to this pot. And if we can visualize it as such, we're creating these almost like childhood stories together, because of the safety of it. We're not trying to add in our knowledge and our skill sets. It is, let's simplify the folklores, the fables that the generational, aspects of each of us bring together, and try to kind of keep simplifying the message so that even a 3-year-old is resonating with what we're creating. There's nothing difficult about this process. There's nothing hard to understand. We are just coming together in a state of, I'd say, creation. We are creators if we can step into the idea that we are here to be creators instead of be those who are following someone else's path, because all those dictated paths, they're just distractionary techniques to keep us from being the creators, the manifestors that we're meant to be. Mm-hmm. So if we, because it is a luxury to have this time. Most people work 2-3 jobs just to try to get food on the table right now. But because we have this luxury of time and stillness and reflection, I'm all about kind of simplifying to the process so that anyone can resonate, anyone can find kind of a nurturing place within what we're creating together.
Definitely. One of the first things that I want to create out of this is as the onboarding, or however we want to title all of this stuff. Anyway, I'm using these terms just because they're easy for everybody to kind of lock into and grasp and understand, but I'm not locked into the vocabulary of this, so these things could change over time as our energy finds the vocabulary to express these things better. But one of the first things I wanted to create in this onboarding process is another children's book. I really resonate with what you're saying, make it really easy to understand. And really this is a part of what I want to create is a living legacy, so that our children and our children's children know their history, know where they're from, feel themselves as part of this magical realm that we're all standing on and connecting through magically over space and time right now. But the children's book is really a big part of this. And as Lee and I have traveled around to so many different parts of the world, and we see a lot of children, street kids, and I always wish that I had something better to give them than the change in my pocket. And I've told this story before in one of the spaces on Twitter, but I always wanted to give them something more than just the change in my pocket, some knowledge. And so I really am passionate about creating a really small little book, or even a card game that goes with a card game, out of just the basics of nice communication, and make it fun and engaging, and a beautiful story that sort of supports
flip
it
book
in its simplicity. Yeah.
It's funny. I bought all these blank flip books a long time ago, knowing that I was going to do something with them. But that's what I'm picturing, because if you're trying to put it, if it's just a little book that you could hand out to children.
Yeah, and visual, a visual. Even it can be. Sorry. Even it can.
You know what I'm talking about with the flip book? It's kind of it's kind of like beginning end. But you're flipping through it, and then the other side could actually, or the first side could be kind of like the challenge. It's like the difficulties in life, and you flip it over, and then the solution is once you find your community, find your voice.
Yeah. And I've written a little bit about this. I got to go through my old stuff. Sorry. Lost my thought now. Anyway, you get where I'm going with all of that.
I do. I am trying to take notes, just because I just lose my train of thought. My mind is always trying to process too much information, and people like Hope can work through real time and remember everything. I just it's not the way my brain works. So the notes are very helpful.
Sometimes I can retrieve my thread, and sometimes I can't, but I just did. So one of the big things, I go back to the circle way. That's actually one of the things that I want to, in that first little book that we write, maybe that's it. Like the communication, how to have a how to hold your own little council circle, you know,
Oh, I
your
like that.
own little round table discussion. And what you were saying earlier about having your voice heard and no one's coming in to try and fix it is actually a really important part, because sometimes in just unloading that's all that needed to happen. They just needed someone to hear them out. They don't actually require anyone coming in to try and fix anything and give advice and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I
It's
like
just
that.
really
What'd you
about
just do?
having your voice
Whoa.
heard.
Now it's echoing though.
Yeah, sorry,
But
I'm gonna.
but I like that. I like having. Oh, so each of you mutes your mic because you're in the same room. Otherwise, you're creating echo. But yeah, I like the split screen, Lee. Kudos, man. How'd you get that done?
He's been doing all kinds of things in the background here. I haven't been
Okay.
able to follow.
No, it's because I'm testing joining as a guest.
I
Oh,
see.
cool.
Oh, now I see
So,
two of you.
By the
Okay.
way, Mike, if you use that guest room or the guest link, if you use the guest link and you have the app, you can join in as a guest.
Oh, he probably doesn't have the app. Do you have the app, Mike? Or I don't even know if you can join the space
Yeah,
without
I
the app.
asked him. He's actually listening to us now.
Okay. Is he listening on X
What
or is he
app?
listening in?
The X app or the Riverside
Yeah, no, he's
app?
on Riverside. He's
Okay.
been in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's why you saw him in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd love to have Mike come up. Mike and I have been on this path together for a hot minute now. At
Yeah,
least.
and actually, one of the kids' books I wanted to do. Sorry, I interrupted you, Sienna.
No, it's okay.
One of the things I wanted to do was like a rip off of Dragon Ball, and use
Zikai?
like use that same kind of energy and bring it into the plasma. What I call it, Dragon Prana, but the prana is actually your plasma.
I like
And sort
that.
of have a whole little storybook about that, but using that same, mode of delivery with the Dragon Ball rip.
Okay.
I think it'd be so fun.
So,
Anyway, yeah, there's a whole sort of youth side of this, because I do want to keep the mother spirit, like I want to keep that child mind, like reignite that child mind in people again. In all of our travels, again, we're faced with all these different bizarre circumstances and things that just happen to you. And so many times I was like, okay, if you were 10 years old, what would you do right now? Like just take it back to like the basics.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
been a
nine
real
nine
helpful
is
tool.
yeah, the summer of when I was 9, about to turn 10. That is basically the best point of reference that I can ever step into to come up with like a rational way forward. Before I don't know what it is about that time frame where we go from
It's like fearlessness. You'll climb the
yes.
tree, and my son was at the top of the tree, and I was like, my knees were shaking while I was looking at him, and I'm like, okay, well.
Oh, my oldest son was like he was a black belt in karate and he still has crazy mechanics, but he used to do flips off of our roof, like hundreds a day, and like parents would come over with their kids, are like, are you really letting your kid do that? And I'm thinking, your kid just how many broken bones does your kid have? My Ridge has never broken anything, and it's because he knows how to move and because he's
Yeah.
fearless. And I
Yeah.
think, as we become adults, we just start, telling ourselves all these things that we can't do. And because it's this fear-based conditioning. Let's stay safe. I mean, I know because I do it
Yeah.
every day.
And that whole movement thing is really key. And that's actually part of, the breatharian journey that I'm on. That's part of it, is realizing where your energy comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And which things are energy drain and which things are giving you energy. And the way your son is moving like that, that's actually giving him energy. He's like super connected with himself and his environment around him. And he's like moving and playing in that
Mm-hmm.
energy. And as compared to like, a kid downtown Tokyo who just rides the elevator down and everything is straight lines, and the exercises he does are all planned for him, and you don't have that It's
It's
not.
like a
It's actually
concrete jar.
energy.
Oh, he made
It's
it up.
actually. It's actually energy draining instead of energy giving.
Yes.
Mike is here.
Cool.
It's good to
Mike
see you,
is
brother.
here.
Yeah, I
Hello.
didn't mean to interrupt, but yes. Hi, how are you all?
Hi.
This
Good.
is so
Where
cool.
this is so cool. Show us where you are, Mike. Just show us like your environment.
Oh
I know
wait.
you're like,
I'm cutting down trees. I'm in Texas.
okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, I did not mean to interrupt the flow of conversation, but Lee and I were trying to like navigate this in the background. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
we did
was
it.
it was the guest link and the app that worked, Lee. So it
Yeah,
took both.
thanks.
It took the app and the guest link. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike.
App and
Awesome.
guest link. Okay.
Thanks for being a part of our evolution.
Yeah.
This is so good to know. It's so
So
cool to test this all out this first time we've
Yeah, it's good
used
to
this.
Well,
see
I
each
haven't
other.
actually met you yet, Anna. So it's nice to. Well, maybe I met you,
no.
but yeah. It's nice to actually like, yeah.
Mike, Anna and I like
Likewise.
finish each other's sentences. Honestly, we're like cut from such similar cloth that yeah, you two are going to be thick as thieves almost instantly. So
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, Mike and I met, I don't know, is it like 6 months ago? Probably longer.
Eight
And
months probably. Yeah,
8 months.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he brought me into, I call them like the Stoic Santas or the scholarly Santas. It's like this group, guys, like literally 6 of them have beards, like ZZ Top beards. I'm thinking, and I'd be on these spaces and it's like my face and then like all these long white beards and they're all these guys like, having these very esoteric philosophical conversations. But yeah, so
Nice.
Mike brought me into that and he brought Hope into that. And that's where I met James at the Spiritual High Table.
Yeah.
And I think, Mike, you and I are the reason that everybody is starting to switch over to X, even though it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're doing it very unwillingly. It's like, oh, that
What do you
X
mean
place.
switch? Like switch from what? Actually,
Well, I was telling
anything
them
else?
very specifically, the conversations that you're having here that are a closed discussion, if you switched over to X on Spaces, then it would
Yeah.
be this open discussion. And the people, I've been on Spaces for almost 3 years now. The people who,
Well, you were probably there right from the beginning, right, Sienna?
well, the first space I ever accessed, I want to say was and it's crazy how different they are, was January of 2022. And it was
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Andrew, it
yeah.
was Andrew Yang. And it's because I just attended his first, the kickoff,
Yeah.
meeting in
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. of the Forward campaign. And I'm thinking, okay, I like the message. It's like not right, not left, but forward. And Marianne Williamson was at all of his events. So I was going to all his events. And so I could talk to him and I could talk to Marianne Williamson. And then, that aligned with, I don't know, I followed him on X and then it came up as, oh, Andrew Yang's speaking. I'm thinking, I don't even know what that means, but I clicked on it. And within
Yeah.
5 minutes, I was having a conversation with him and I thought, this is everything. This is everything. I
Yeah, it's
literally,
because they have such a huge user base,
yes,
basically. So you can basically reach a whole lot of people.
yes,
So what I wanted to do today was I'm gonna run Twitter like in the cloud, and it's going to create a Riverside audience member with the Twitter space. So we'll link the space with this call, basically, because like you said, Twitter is so powerful that it's really cool to,
Well,
even
Lee,
just create.
you know 11 Slevin, right?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we have a whole group of people that we've been doing this for almost like a year now, or whatever, or trying to work at the Kinks. But yeah, there's the ability. This is a new one for me, or whatever. But there is the ability to broadcast on multiple, like cross broadcast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so
Crosscast.
we're
Yeah.
we're on YouTube now. Just like we
Right.
lost
Yeah,
Sienna.
yeah.
And we're also live streaming on Twitter, but we can do Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, LinkedIn.
Did we lose the girls? Did I chase them away?
I'm still
No,
here.
it's because we're sharing the same camera because we're together.
No,
So
understood about that. I see that happening. I think Sienna had connection problems. I get it.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anna, if you want to, tell me a bit about yourself, my love.
Aw. Well, gee, I don't know where to start. I was born in this birth. I'll try
I
and
was 7. I was 7 when it kicked on for me, and I'm 36 as of yesterday.
Okay, it was really the big wake up kind of, well, the last 2 years has been sort of the biggest change of my life, really. But my background, I was born in a small town, Unity, Saskatchewan, central Canada. And then my
I'm Canadian, my
family,
love. I
oh,
don't know if
cool.
he's told you that, but yeah.
No. And then when I was really young, a lot of crazy stuff happened for me in that little town, even though I was super young when we moved. And then my family moved to Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories in the Arctic. And that's really where I grew up with all of this wilderness and wild meat and like a totally different scenario. That move was really good for my body. I really felt it in my health even as a young kid. I knew it was a better space for us to be, even though it was freezing cold. But it's funny, when you're a kid, you don't really care about stuff like that.
I have a -40 winter jacket. Last in Canadian. Keep going.
Yeah, there you go. You know me. And
Yes, ma'am.
when I graduated from high school, I just couldn't wait to leave that space, actually. So isolated there and cold. And I relocated to the west coast of Canada, to a little island, Quadra Island. And my family helped me to create a scuba diving lodge there. And I did that for quite a while and was like totally enamored by the underwater world. And so many things about that I
Well,
learned
this is
about
kind of like an
myself.
introductory moment. Like, so after the, how do I say this? After you have the awakening moment, what was something like that really spiritual, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But what was like a point where you realized that you were with us? I don't know how to say this. Lee, can you help me? I don't know what to say. Like what was a moment of like you were like, oh, there's something more to this. Like it's not just like we're
Mm,
here to. Yeah, you got me. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, actually, that happened with Lee. I had a out of body experience, or what people would maybe call a near death experience, while we were traveling in a busy market in a back lane in Luang Prabang, Lao. And I was going to park my bicycle, my steel fixie, and
Your steel horse.
yeah, and I, boom, next thing I knew, I was on the ground and in a
Wow.
totally other space dimension. And it was a real big experience for both of us. Everything sort of started to really change after that. And it was like this calling that I knew I was here to do something. And it was like the universe saying to me, like, wake up. You have you have a task. Are you going to do this task? Are you going to engage in this mission, or are you not?
We're gonna pull it off, Anna. Don't worry. We are aligned on that one. Yeah, the job's not done, and apparently I can't. Yeah, I can't go back to bed until the job's done.
Yeah, right. And it happened to me again after that, another time, and it was just like, putting the exclamation point on it, like, okay, you
Are
have
you
this.
listening yet? Like, are you listening yet?
And then after that, I was like, okay, I actually understood how I could take myself to that space, actually, like kind of in a more safe way. And I'm still sort of playing with that with in lucid moments, and just connecting more with the divine
Are
energy.
you on X? Like, do you have a profile and we can actually like host spaces with you in it or no?
Yeah, I do have
Okay.
I'm at Anna Seahawk in Spaces, I
I'll
think.
Lee will link it to me or something. Yeah, understood.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think, yeah, I don't follow too many people on
yeah,
X, but I
don't worry
have,
about that.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I have lists, so you can go into my lists
That's her
and
Okay,
website, by the way.
my thought. Sorry, Lee. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just showing her the website now.
Yeah. And
So,
my thought is that even if it's like a cultivated space or something, instead of a free for all, which I'm sure you'll get used to, I think it would be really important for us to provide you and Sienna too, or Sienna's already got this down. Hope's already got this down, but your particular advantage and perspective, I think would be really important to whether it's Lee can be your co-host, which he'll tell you about, and then you can kind of just like articulate these things. I, I, well, Lee, don't let me speak over you. I know you're gonna read my brain here or whatever, but Anna, so many people, young men, young women, old women, it doesn't matter. They are lacking guidance, and you might not want to think of yourself as a stewardess in like the most holiest of terms, but you are. And the whatever medium we make it through, so X just happens to be one of the easier ones, but I really think that a lot of people would benefit from your perspective, even if you think you're talking for 45 minutes or 30 minutes and you like think you're getting nowhere. I'm not a gambling person, but I imagine that a whole lot of people would be able to hear your words and hear your journey and kind of skip some steps, skip some missteps that you got me. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, there's so much. I actually really resonate with that. Like, I don't see myself anyway, I won't
That's
worry
your
about
Twitter,
the
right,
details.
Mike? Stop.
Pardon? Yeah,
Stop
stop the
the
madness.
madness.
Stop TEH madness.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, I
you
got
got
that.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really feel, yeah, thank you for saying
Thank
that.
you, my
I
love.
really
No,
appreciate
I've known
it.
you for all of 5 minutes, and I feel like I've known you my whole life. But
Thanks for coming by, Mike. It was really cool.
Yeah, and I've been in, like, when Lee's in spaces, I'm listening. So I've heard you speak a lot. And
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance
It's so cool
if
to see
Anna is
your
in a
face.
space or if I'm in a space, then you can ask, like, can I speak to Lee or Anna? I'd probably be around.
I just want to introduce her to the audience because you're such a beautiful soul, Anna. Like I know,
Aw.
yeah. No, it's seriously that we have. I'm out here like trying to find all of us, and there's so few of us, and the ones that are available and want to the trepidation or like the hesitation, trepidation, whatever, blah blah, like the idea that you're hesitant to like speak out and actually like speak. I get that. I went through it, but really, like we need your voice more than ever right now. And so I won't I won't harangue you about it, but I will firmly suggest that you put yourself in front of the people because so many people need it. It's I've slept on the streets for 1 month straight or the past 4 months or something, right? Like I've been all across America. I don't know if Lee's told you my story or whatever, but I rode the Amtrak for the past 4 months, meeting mentors and peers among our group, some of whom Lee knows obviously, but out of those 4 months, easily I had exactly or not exactly, I easily had a month on the streets. I everywhere I go, my mom taught me this, whatever, but I would buy like a 2-4 of water. I was just in LA 2 weeks ago, downtown LA, handing out water at 2 a.m., just talking to people. More than half the people on the streets are veterans. A lot of them are spiritually inclined, like they actually know and have access to what we're talking about, whatever. And and again, I'm Canadian, so like they should not be on me to be wandering the streets of like Mississippi or LA or Texas or whatever it is, right? Handing out water bottles and listening to these stories, but it's this is for keeps. So if you're willing and if you're ready, I mean, it would be a privilege and an honor to help facilitate you speak to people. And I get it. I'm not trying to put you humble me. You humble me. How about that? I'm gonna leave it at that. You humble me.
You're really so sweet, and thank you so much. And it's
There's no
actually
secret to it, Anna.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's because of people like you and Sienna that I actually feel like there's actually like a net of safety of people that believe in me, or however, like the more we come together, the safer we are, you know, like my dad
I'll
always
talk
told
to
me,
Zoe.
don't
I'll
go
be
out
your
there
net.
by yourself, you know, like,
No, I
make
wouldn't
sure you're with
encourage
your
you. Yeah,
friends.
I wouldn't encourage any random young lady to walk around the streets of LA at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But with presence, like, no, I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Really, I appreciate it so much. You really touched me.
So,
So
yeah,
go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say we're probably gonna close it up here.
No,
And
that's good. I gotta talk to James anyways.
yeah.
And then there'll be more spaces over the course of the day. I'm sure
So,
you're available. Yeah.
so when we close up here, I'll stop the recording. Thanks for stopping by. You'll still be on the call. Thanks for stopping by, Mike. And we'll close up this live, and then we'll talk.
All right. Yeah.
So there, I